make your partner, your spouse, do the pee dance. Now that I have your attention, I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So I'm Lesli Dories, your marriage coach, creator of the Hero Husband Project, and owner of Foundations Coaching. And I am the youngest of three girls. And when we would go on vacation, when we be on a car trip, we'd be in the back seat of the car, and one of us inevitably would have to go to the bathroom. And we would say to our dad, who, by the way, is a good guy, but he had some really weird ideas, to say, Dad, can we stop at the next gas station or rest stop or whatever, because I have to go to the bathroom. And my father would say, no, I don't have to go. So we would have three little girls sitting in the back seat of the car wiggling because we had to go to the bathroom, and my dad would not stop because he did not have to go. Now, we do this. So what does this have to do with marriage, you might be saying? Well, we do this with our partners all the time. And oh, by the way, my father had another wonderful line, which is along the same things of, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to give you something good to cry about. Well, if I was crying, obviously I thought I had something good to cry about, but he didn't agree with me. And this happens all the time in relationships. Your partner feels a certain way. You think they are overreacting or too sensitive or whatever form of judgment you're using, because in the same circumstance, you wouldn't feel the same way. But what happens is you end up minimizing their experience. And like those three little girls in the back seat of the car, you make them very uncomfortable. They don't feel heard. They don't feel loved. They don't feel supported. None of those things do you want going on in your marriage. But when you get caught up in having to understand the reasons why your partner feels this way, you're never going to get there, because they're never going to be able to explain it in a way that you would feel the same way under the circumstances. A colleague of mine, Michelle Weiner Davis, has said that understanding is overrated. Now, by understanding, I don't mean I heard you that you feel this way about this certain thing, and I understand your words. What most of the time you're asking for is for your partner, your spouse, to justify or defend why they feel the way they feel. And because you don't feel that way, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to feel the same way about any particular experience that your partner does. But when your partner tells you that an experience that they had with you was hurtful to them, and you blow them off because they're being too sensitive, or you wouldn't feel the same way, or they haven't justified their feelings enough, what you're doing is basically telling them that you don't love them. Now, I know that's not what you mean to say, but that's the message that they are taking away. I had a client many years ago who, in his family, birthdays and special occasions were celebrated. And in his wife's family, they weren't. And so having his special days celebrated was important to him. Now, he wasn't asking for her to go all out, throw this big shindig every single year, whatever. All he wanted was a card. Not even a handwritten card, just a card that acknowledged his special day. And year after year, special occasion after special occasion, he was disappointed because his wife didn't think it was important. Now, in the grand scheme of things, not getting a birthday card might not be the end of the world, but when you've made a specific request and you're asking for something that is reasonable and within the power to do it, and it doesn't happen, there's only one message you can walk away with. I'm not important enough to my partner to have my feelings honored. And in this particular case, Compassion is more important than understanding. I don't have to understand why you want it or why it matters to you. I just need to understand that it does. And then I make the effort to grant that for you because I love you, I can, and you asked. And if couples would simply just accept this at face value, and I know it can be hard. I know it can be hard when your partner comes to you, when your spouse comes to you and says, I was hurt by this. And you didn't mean to hurt your partner. You didn't want to hurt your partner. So instead of acknowledging that your partner is hurt by this circumstance, you defend, you deflect, you deny that it happened, you call them oversensitive, and that just makes it worse. As opposed to finding the compassion that here is this person that I love who is struggling because of an interaction that we had. It doesn't mean that you did anything intentionally wrong, but when it's not acknowledged, you actually make the situation much worse. So just because you don't feel a certain way, just because something isn't important to you, you would want your partner to acknowledge those things and not make you jump through all kinds of hoops to explain why it's important. It's just, I can do this and I will because I love you and it will make your life better. So if you've ever found yourself on either side of, I'm not stopping because I don't have to go to the bathroom. If you've ever been on the other side of not having your feelings acknowledged or not having something that you care about be included. So for those of you who are living in sexless marriages and haven't had sex in a long time because it's not important to your spouse, I'm going to say that's not really a particularly good answer. You know, that doesn't leave you feeling loved and included. So if you've ever had any of these experiences and you want to make things better, then I invite you to get in touch with me. Send me an email, Lesli at foundationscoachingnc.com. Put a comment down below. DM me. I would really love to hear your stories about these experiences and how maybe you successfully handled them, or maybe you would like some help on how to handle them. But like I said, compassion is so much more important in a relationship than understanding. And so I hope to hear from you. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel. And until next week, stay loving.